And now tonight on Review, we're firmly in the Twilight Zone. On the 30th anniversary of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and with science fiction and superheroes flooding cinema and the small screen, what's fueling this flight into fantasy? I'm joined by the director, comic book writer and grade A cult fiction know-it-all, Kevin Smith, who's just published his collected podcast Meanderings, and by self-confessed geek Natalie Haynes, and by the author Jeanette Winterson, whose writing has boldly gone into the realms of the imagined future. In the next half hour, we'll be debating whether science fiction writing is in a ghetto. Will the in-jokes of Owen Colfer's new Hitchhiker's book keep general readers out? And have the geeks taken over the world, as comic writer Mark Millar believes? But first, we'll debate whether cult is now mainstream, and if so, why. The latest science fiction success from America, Flash Forward, just started on British TV screens. Chaos reigns after the world's population suffers a 2-minute, 17-second blackout, which appears to offer a vision of the future. And FBI agent Mark Benford, played by Joseph Fiennes, must piece together the clues.
Those are all the leads I can remember. What about your state of mind? What were you doing?
I was chambering around. I was scared to death.
You were scared to death in here?
Yeah. The office was empty, but someone was coming for me. They were wearing masks. They wanted to kill me because of what I knew.
With its time travel themes and fantasy elements, Flash Forward is the type of show that would traditionally have attracted a niche audience. But it's pulled in more than 12 million viewers in the States and has been sold to over 100 territories at this year's TV trade fair.
We need to wrap our heads around the scope of this thing, people.
Viewers can't get enough of sci-fi and fantasy shows on US television. Lost, Heroes and Battlestar Galactica have all delivered great ratings, returning series and crucially lucrative box set sales, so the networks are scrambling for similar fare. The success of Stephanie Meyer's Twilight books has prompted a wave of vampire TV shows. The latest US hit, True Blood, also starts in the UK this week.
I'm gonna drain you so slowly you're gonna beg me to kill you.
And Twilight also triumphed in film form, with the second of the series expected to do well next month when it opens. In Hollywood, sci-fi and fantasy are now the box office bankers. From Wolverine and the Oscar-nominated The Dark Knight...
Oh, you wanna play? Come on.
...to an adaptation of Alan Moore's cult graphic novel Watchmen, and a reinvigorated Star Trek franchise.
Are you afraid or aren't you?
And the slate for the coming year is similarly stacked. Are we desperate for escapism, or equally desperate for a mirror of our times?
Why are you here? How do your weapons work?
This season's surprise hit film, District 9, from South African director Neil Blomkamp, is a blood-soaked contemporary mockumentary about the arrival of more than 1 million aliens in Johannesburg, which wrestles with the shadow of apartheid and the violent gang life of the city.
MNU agents, open the door, please. Hello? Okay. We are here to serve you an eviction notice.
Jeanette, just taking Flash Forward and District 9 together, both of these are set in the very, very near future. Do you think this reflects a kind of unease and a kind of worry about our grasp on what's happening in the real world?
Yeah, I think we always want to look forward to try and find out what's going on, and somehow we feel that television and film itself are a kind of crystal ball that we can gaze into and the answer will come back to us. I think whenever there's deep social and political unease, people are looking for answers. We're looking for prophecy, we're looking for voodoo, we're looking for something that says this is what will happen so you can control it. But of course that always goes wrong. Listen, it's as old as Oedipus, isn't it? Being told that he'll kill his father and marry his mother, and what happens? He does.
Kevin Smith, just wanted to say that homage to Hitchhikers, you're wearing your bathrobe, which we'll
This is proving
later.
that geeks inherited the earth, because a fat, sweaty man who loves Star Wars is on Newsnight Review. That's the Geeks 71.
But the word is,
yes.
let's do a flash forward. The word is that Fiennes and Davenport have both been signed up for 5 years. That's 5 very long years.
Yeah.
What happens when cult goes mainstream like this?
I think what you're seeing is the lostization of network TV. But look, it's a prime time for fantasy. We just came off of 8 years of Bush, harsh reality. Everyone wants to go someplace else. sci-fi is an able-bodied way to do that, to comment on the culture while not commenting on the culture.
But it's easier, do you think, to do hard political stuff in sci-fi than it is perhaps in a more literal form of television?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. I mean, then again, The West Wing ran for how many years, but that was in an era where people wanted to see an inspiring president, you know, at that period. So I think now, I don't know if it's so much sci-fi or the explosion of geek culture as it is that I think television is experiencing what indie film was experiencing in the 90s, this massive audience and kind of realm of respect where people are like, wow, the best entertainment's coming out of there. I watch TV more than I go to the cinema now, which is heartbreaking to say because that's what I do for a living, but still it's way better. They're just telling better stories. In the 70s, you watch stuff like Love Boat and Fantasy Island. In the 80s, it was like A-Team. Now you're watching stuff like Lost or The Sopranos or Flash Forward, and it's just epic television. It's so much better than much cinema, and they've got so much more time to tell a story. They don't have 90 minutes to 2 hours. They can unroll it 22 episodes over a season.
Yeah, but does a lot more time make it better?
I think what it does is it captures a whole chunk of our psyche. Epic is the oldest poetry form, right? We had the Iliad, we had the Odyssey, then we ended up with the Aeneid, and so on. We want a big story. We want monsters, we want gods, we want superheroes.
So it's just pure escapism.
So I think it's just, it must tap into something really, really primitive. When, at the end of, for example, season 2 Buffy, when she has to kill Angel in order to stop the end of the world from happening, that's exactly what happens in book 4 of the Aeneid, where he has to, you know, this pious Aeneas figure, this dutiful man, has to do something terrible. He has to leave the woman he loves. She kills herself. So we love these stories. We want these larger-than-life stories. So maybe it is just escapism, but actually I would suggest it taps into something a lot more primeval.
And what way does it tap into something more primeval, though? I mean, what is it? I mean, I would say in Flash Forward, you have this moment, this 2 minutes, 17 seconds, and then they keep banging away at this. They say afterwards, well, now actually, everyone on the planet has felt the same thing, so we can all understand each other. It's like a new form of church, a new form of community.
I think you're right. It's a brilliant, simple concept around which to construct the whole drama. And we always think that we want to know, but that knowledge never really leads us anywhere. I mean, there's a wonderful story by Uspensky where a guy's about to be murdered for killing someone else. He says, if only I could have my life again, how different it would be. And an angel comes down and says, have it again. And at the end, of course, he's waiting to be murdered for killing someone. The thing repeats endlessly. It's a repeating world. So I think the idea that forward knowledge can somehow free you from your own condition is entirely false, but still we cling to it.
And of course, that is what we're being sold in Fast Forward, that forward knowledge might or might not release us from our future.
I think what you're also kind of seeing too is like you've had 2,000 years of religion, and I think the next 1,000 years are going to be about mysticism, because people could get into it a little bit more.
No.
The I know, it's sad to say. You're going to see vampires, werewolves, maguses and whatnot. I think we're going back to the Dark Ages because people are just like, it's more fun over there.
It's really depressing.
It really is, but that's how bored we are as a culture.
I was interested in what you were saying also about sci-fi being able to deal with difficult political issues. So if you turn to District 9, I mean, it just hits you over the head. This is a straight